What happens when a royal guest strolls into a TV studio thinking they can steer the whole conversation? Well, buckle up, because this is the story of one of the most jaw-dropping daytime TV moments in recent memory. Prince Harry walked onto the loose women set expecting polite smiles and easy questions. What he got instead was Denise Welch in full no-nonsense mode. And when Denise is on that kind of form, absolutely no one gets a free pass. Before we dissect this train wreck of an interview, hit that subscribe button and drop your thoughts in the comments about celebrities who melt under real scrutiny. The tension inside ITV studios was simmering even before the cameras rolled. Harry had arrived flanked by his entourage, assuming the same deferential treatment he'd often received from sections of the British press. But this wasn't a royal PR parade. It was loose women. And Denise Welch doesn't bow to crowns. As the opening music faded, Harry adjusted his tie, looking ever so slightly unsettled. Around the table, Christine Lampard, Nadia Sawalha, and Kay Adams traded glances, silent confirmation that Denise was in that mood. And when she's in that mood, you might as well fasten your seatbelt. Joining us now is Prince Harry, Denise began, cutting straight to business. Harry, thanks for coming. Harry flashed that well-rehearsed Windsor smile. Thank you for having me, Denise. It's great to be here. Denise's eyebrow arched. Is it, though? Because from where I'm sitting, you've had plenty to say about the British media lately. The royal smile wavered. I think it's important we have honest conversations. About media responsibility. Honest conversations? Denise echoed, her voice sharp enough to slice through glass. Right. So when you say the British press has treated you unfairly, do you mean all British media? Because we're British media too, aren't we? Christine stepped in with a softer tone, trying to keep things friendly. But Harry took the bait, his jaw tightening. There's a difference between responsible journalism and the kind of tabloid sensationalism my family has dealt with for decades. Tabloid sensationalism? Denise pounced. So what? Anything that doesn't praise you counts as sensationalism? That's not what I said. Harry shot back, his voice firm but fraying. I'm talking about a pattern of negative coverage that's basically character assassination. The audience leaned in, sensing the shift. A serious allegation, Denise pressed. When journalists report on your choices, you think they're assassinating your character? I'm saying there's a difference between criticism and smear campaigns. And you get to decide which is which. Her tone was pure courtroom cross-examination now. Harry shifted in his chair. Anyone with common sense can tell the difference. Common sense, Denise repeated with a dry laugh. So your common sense means criticism is unfair, and ours should mean you're always right? Kay Adams tried to change the subject to Harry's charity work, but the mask had already slipped. I came here expecting a professional interview, not an ambush, Harry said. That word, ambush, lit the fuse. Denise's eyes widened. Harry, this is a talk show. We ask questions. That's literally the point. Did no one explain the format to you? I understand perfectly, Harry replied tightly. What I don't understand is this hostility. Christine tried one last peacekeeping attempt, but Harry cut her off. These aren't questions. They're accusations dressed as journalism. Accusations? Denise's laugh was short and cold. I've asked you about your public statements. If that feels like an attack, maybe the issue isn't with the questions. Harry's tone turned royal icy. Viewers can see exactly what's happening here. This is the kind of media behavior I've been talking about. Oh, I see, Denise said, leaning back. So when you go on TV and make serious claims about your family, your country, our institutions, that's speaking your truth. But when you're asked to explain those claims, suddenly, it's unfair? That's completely different, Harry snapped. Different how? Because you're controlling the questions instead of answering them? Nadia attempted another subject change, but Harry wasn't coming back from this. I shouldn't have to defend speaking my truth to people who've already decided what they think. Your truth? Denise repeated slowly. What about just the truth? You know, the facts. The facts, Harry said, raising his voice, are that my family and I have endured years of invasive, inaccurate, malicious coverage. Invasive coverage? Denise fired back instantly. Of public figures, doing public duties, with public money. Outrage from the palace camp. Really? How dare the press talk about things you do in front of cameras? William's expression had tightened, but Christine looked concerned now. Maybe we should take a breath here, she ventured. But there would be no breathing. The train had left the station and was hurtling toward an inevitable, fiery wreck. William's voice turned cooler, sharper. I came here in good faith to have a civilized conversation, and that's what I'm doing. Denise didn't flinch. I'm asking you straightforward questions about your public comments. If that feels uncivilized to you, maybe the problem isn't the questions. The problem, William said, his tone tight with frustration, is that you're not actually listening. You're just looking for gotcha moments. Denise's smile cut like glass. I'm listening to exactly what you're saying, William. You're saying that when you speak publicly, it should be accepted without question. But when someone talks publicly about you, that's crossing the line. Is that right? That's not what I'm saying at all, William protested, but his voice lacked conviction. Then what are you saying? Denise pressed. Because it sounds like you want to critique everyone else but blow up the moment someone asks you to explain yourself. Kay made one last attempt at mediation. Maybe this is just a misunderstanding. There's no misunderstanding, William cut in. This is exactly the kind of hostile press climate I've been talking about. And there it was, the clip destined to live forever online. A prince labeling a basic interview as hostile because someone dared ask follow-up questions. Denise blinked in disbelief. Hostile. William, you're in a studio chair on a daytime talk show being asked about things you've already said in public. If this is hostile, what do you call actual hardship? This is exactly the kind of media manipulation that pushes people away from public service. William shot back. Manipulation? Denise's voice rose. I'm quoting you and asking, you to clarify, that's manipulation? The panelists were now visibly uneasy. Christine fidgeted with her notes, Nadia stared at the desk, and Kay glanced toward the control room like a passenger begging for the emergency exit. But no rescue was coming. The producers knew they had lightning in a bottle. You know what, William? Denise leaned forward. I think our viewers see exactly what's going on here. You came expecting gentle questions and royal treatment. The moment you got the same scrutiny any other guest gets, you started crying ambush. That's absolutely not true, William insisted, but the denial rang hollow. Isn't it? Denise pushed. You talk about hostile environments when someone just asks you to back up your own words. That was the breaking point. William's tone snapped, revealing the simmering temper beneath his polished PR smile. I don't have to sit here and be lectured by someone with an agenda. The air went still. Denise's eyes narrowed. An agenda? And what exactly would that be? To make me look bad for ratings, he said, jaw tight. Denise's reply was ice. Make you look bad? I didn't make you say anything. If your own answers are a bad look, that's on you. The silence was thick enough to cut. So let me get this straight, she continued quietly, which, for anyone who knew her, meant danger. You think I ambushed you, created a hostile environment, and am now waging some personal vendetta. For ratings? I think it's obvious what's going on. This isn't journalism, it's entertainment at my expense. William doubled down. That was it. Denise's voice sliced through the tension. Entertainment at your expense? You walked into this studio on your own. Nobody forced you to say any of the things I'm asking about, and nobody is making you throw a tantrum because you got a follow-up question. Christine glanced at the booth again. The crew didn't move. William's face flushed deep crimson. Spoiled child. How dare you speak to me like that? How dare I? Denise leaned in. You accuse me of bias, call fair questions an ambush, and then try to dictate how I address you. Who exactly do you think you are? I know exactly who I am, William barked, his voice climbing. And I know I don't have to tolerate this treatment. The audience was glued to their seats. This wasn't a rough interview anymore. This was a live implosion. Calm down, Nadia suggested. I am calm, William said, clearly anything but. What I am is disgusted by this ambush masquerading as journalism. Denise's patience snapped. Right. Enough. You've called this an ambush, accused me of chasing ratings, and lectured me on journalism while refusing to answer basics questions. That's not an interview anymore. I am not throwing a tantrum, William's voice cracked. Aren't you? Denise fired back. You came expecting royal treatment and you're storming because I treated you like every other guest. William shoved back his chair. I don't have to listen to this. No, you don't, Denise said evenly. There's the door. He hesitated, clearly expecting someone to plead with him to stay. No one did. This is the kind of media behavior that destroys people. He tried again. What destroys people, Denise said, is thinking their title shields them from the same questions everyone else faces. Christine tried one last. Olive branch. Why don't you sit and we can start fresh? Start fresh? After that? No. Kay finally weighed in. William, I think you're overreacting. Overreacting? This is character assassination. That was the end for Denise. Right. You need to leave. This interview is over. William blinked. You're throwing me off the show? I'm ending an interview that stopped being productive the moment you decided answering questions was beneath you. He looked around for backup. None came. This will be all over the headlines tomorrow, he warned. Oh, I'm counting on it, Denise smiled. And the audience will see exactly what happened. A fair interview, and you choosing a meltdown instead of answers. And with that, Prince William walked out, leaving behind one of the most jaw-dropping daytime TV moments in recent memory. So there you have it. The blow-by-blow of how a royal walked straight into a live on-air disaster and got himself booted. What do you make of it? Was Denise too harsh or exactly as sharp as she needed to be?